Hey, and we're back with another edition of the Leo G Show. I am Leo G, and podcasting is what I do. Man, we got a good show tonight, man. We are feeling good, and we're going to have a good time with it tonight, man, because we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to celebrate as we record this podcast tonight, man. I am so ready for this, man. I am so ready for this, man. I went a little overboard tonight for the podcast, but we'll talk about that in just a minute. First and foremost, man, I gotta kick it to the guys who are also on the marquee, man. The guys who help me run this podcast. So first of all, I'm gonna go this week to my man, none other than Derek Cole over there. What's going on with you, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Leo G? Yes, sir. Like you said, it's been a good week for the Atlanta sports, and we're gonna keep on trucking. What's up, Banks?
Now there he
What
is.
up?
There
What
he
you? What you?
is.
What you? What up? What up?
Pass it over to my man Banks, man. What's going on with you tonight, brother? How you feeling?
Man, how you feeling, Leo G? What's going on? Long time no here.
Hey man, hey man, I'm feeling good, man. Everything is, as they would say back in the day, copacetic. We're feeling good, man, tonight, and we're gonna let everybody know why we're feeling good. Like you said, Derico, it's been a great week for Atlanta sports leading up into this podcast, man. We hadn't really had anything to bitch or gripe or moan about, man. Just some positive vibes, and we're gonna keep those vibes going. So first and foremost, man, before we actually get into, so we got a couple of things that we're going to talk about starting out. First and foremost, so for Banks and Derek, if you're watching the YouTube channel, shout out for everybody that's subscribing to the YouTube channel, man. Shout out to everybody that's watching us on YouTube, and shout out to everybody who still listens to the audio podcast, man, because we still putting that up and running. So one of the things we started doing with the YouTube channel is, man, we had the wardrobe check and making sure everybody is decked out in their ATL attire. I'm gonna go first before I pass out because I might have to take some of this off. So look, I went completely overboard tonight, gentlemen. I just got in my ATL zone because I'm officially, off of my 9 to 5 for the next 5 days, and I'm fully invested in Atlanta sports, guys. I'm fully invested. So I'm feeling great. Even though it's a late night tonight, I'm excited about what we got coming up and what we're talking about on the show tonight. So look, I didn't know what to put on. I just threw on everything. I got the ATL, the Brave jersey representing. I got the ATL, the Atlanta Hawks jersey representing. I got my Falcons all y'all had on. I didn't know what to do. I just threw on everything because I was just so excited, about what's going on this week and this weekend happening in Atlanta sports, man. Banks, I see you over there chuckling, man, but I'm excited. Your boy is excited. So I'm gonna kick it over to you first. Everybody can see what you represent, man. Let everybody know what you represent.
Well, Braves playing. I got to rep my boys. First game, World Series. Braves hat. I just don't have my pearls, but I got them on in spirit.
Absolutely. We're gonna get into it in a minute. You just alluded to the first topic of the show, man. We're gonna get into it in a minute. So, yeah, everybody representing the Braves tonight as I kick it over to Derrico, man. What's up with you and what you got on, brother?
Yeah, I'm busting this unusual Atlanta Braves hat. So I had to find this one, dig it up. Ain't too many people gonna have this Braves like this on that bib and that A right there. You know how that work. And then the Braves, y'all see that bling on there? That Braves jersey, and it's Derek on the back of that one.
Okay, looking nice, looking nice. You already know what it is. We all of us are customized. You know what I'm saying? Made for TV. All of us, man. When we get something done, I can vouch for Banks. I can vouch for you, Derrico, man. When we get it done on the back of this one, it say Walker. On the back of this one, it say, you know what it is. All of my stuff custom, as Rick Flair used to say, custom made, brother. Custom made. We do this for the A, for real. And ain't no faking with us. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna kick it out. So Derek Cole, man, we talk about this, and Banks, we talk about this as well, man. We're gonna do a drink check, man, because we do the podcast, man. We like to get a little loose, man, and have a little drink. So I thought that we're gonna do a drink check. I'll go first. So Derek Cole, man. So I remember on the last podcast, man, I did mention that if the Braves made it to the World Series. So the cat's out the bag now as we record this episode. The Braves have made it to the World Series, and we'll get into it in just a minute. That I was going to pop a bottle. Well, Derek Cole, your boy didn't pop the bottle that I said I was gonna pop. I went back on my word on that.
Yeah. That's what y'all do, you know. Plus,
Man, look,
I understand. It's a Tuesday night and you ain't have none of the fellas over there, so you want to make sure with the
exactly.
fellas over there. So I'm gonna let you
Yeah.
off the hook right now.
Well, yeah, man, y'all still on the hook to try to, you know what I'm saying, match. You know what I'm saying? We still do that match game. So y'all still on the hook to try to match that thing. And if we could do that, we'll definitely have a party. But look here, so anyway, drink check is in effect. That's what we're gonna call it now, man, because it's a part of the show. And like I said, everybody likes to ask us what we sipping on. So look, Derek, I do have something very, very special. So since the Braves did make it to the World Series, I decided to pop something that was in the collection. And on the last episode, I talked about how I'm into the bourbons, right? I'm into bourbons, man. The bourbons are pretty cool. I pulled out the Blanton's bottle that I said I was gonna pop, but we're gonna hold on. We're gonna hold off for it for just a minute. But I'm not really big into Scotch. But I did decide to pop this one. As you guys can see, I'm not big into Scotch, but I actually got this bottle courtesy of an Atlanta sports team for winning. This is a bottle of Macallan 12 Highland single malt Scotch whiskey. Shout out to the person that put up for that game. It was the Raiders game last year. We put up, and this is what I end up winning, guys. Like I said, not big into Scotch. I told him it was dealer's choice. I told him to go ahead and pick me up something nice, and this is what he did. He's a Scotch guy. So I said, you know what? Tonight would be a good night to go ahead and pop it in celebration. Because Derek, I know you wanted me to pop something, so I did pop this. So if you in the Scotch, if you know about, if you know, then you know. The Macallan Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, 12 years age. And when I tell you guys, this is pretty good. It's pretty damn good, man. It's sitting right nice in my Braves tumbler, and yeah, I'm feeling it. So I'm gonna kick it over to you here, Banks. I see you already with the red solo cup. Go ahead and let everybody know what you're sipping on. Go ahead and let everybody know.
Listen, I'm keeping it simple. Ain't nothing wrong with Lil Remy. And that's all I got to say about that. That's just keeping it simple.
Hey man, hey, sometimes you gotta go to the old faithful, man. That Remy never let you down. It never let you down. I wish we could hit the rewind and press the rewind button to what you were drinking a couple of weeks ago, but you might bring it back. It's all good, man. We have a good time. Derek, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
It's all good, man. So pass it up to you, Derek, man. What you got going on tonight, man? What you got sipping on for the folk, man? Let them know.
Hey, man, I went to Old Faithful too. I went, since we playing a Texas team, I thought I'd pour up some of this old Tito's right here to make sure that they understand that, hey, even though it's Austin, it's still Texas. So we're gonna pour up a celebratory shot and one more out because it's at the bottom of the ninth. We up 6-2, and we're about to go ahead and take this first game on the road.
Absolutely. So without let's get right into the show, man. Let's go ahead and do it, man. Yeah, we'll go ahead and toast it up. Hopefully we get this last out here, man, as we're monitoring this. So a lot has transpired since the last time we did a podcast, fellas. The Atlanta Braves are now in the World Series against the Houston Astros. And as I speak, game one is being played right now. As we do this podcast, it's the bottom of the ninth, game one of the World Series. So this was something very, very special. We talked about this, man. This Braves team has done something very, very special. We hadn't seen the Braves team make it to the World Series in quite some time, and it looks like we have put game one away. We have put game one away. It is in the bank, fellas. We are on our way to trying to get this title here, man. Fingers and toes crossed. So, Banks, I'm going to go to you first, man. This was the first topic of the show tonight. The Atlanta Braves, man, we fought it out in a NLCS series against the Dodgers. Of course, we know last year in the COVID year of sports, we played the Dodgers in the NLCS. We had to go out to Texas, if I'm not mistaken, and play in the bubble out there. And Braves went up 3-1 in that series last year and just couldn't pull it out. The Dodgers were too strong and they came back. But this year was something different and something special. And before I pass it over to you, Banks, I just want to give a little background into how this happened. All right, this season, everybody was looking forward to in Major League Baseball, coming back off of the heels of dealing with the pandemic. And then we get back to regularly scheduled programming when it comes to sports. And the Braves, we knew they were going to be good. We knew they were going to come back, had a good team, very, very strong lineup. But we didn't really know what to expect. Last year, we were playing with house money, and then we ended up this year starting out a little rocky, below 500 going into the All-Star break. Lost our star player in Ronald Acuna Jr. to a torn ACL, and things look very, very bleak. So, and also another side note, city of Atlanta, state of Georgia, we lost the All-Star game. Lost the All-Star game due to political reasons. I'm not going to go into it, but we lost the All-Star game, which was a big thing here that I think all of us was looking forward to, man, and we lost that as well. So you fast forward to the All-Star break, coming back after the All-Star break, and shout out to my man Alex Anthopoulos, the GM of the Atlanta Braves, for getting his team together and getting it right, because we needed some help. We lost, like I just said, we lost Ronald Acuna due to injury, and then Marcell Ozuna, who was very, very big and instrumental last year in helping us make the run that we made. We sign him, we get him back, and then due to a domestic situation, we lose him. So everything started to look bleak. We were like, damn, what's going to happen? But Alex Anthopoulos, shout out to him, man. He went out and got guys like Solara, Rosario. He brought some guys in and said, hey, you know what? They're going to hold us down. They're going to help us out, man. And he looks like the baseball wizard at this point, because not only did we start to ascend, we go above 500. We do what we need to do. We win the NL East to get into the playoffs, because it was going to be tough to get that wild card spot, but we end up getting in, winning our division, which is kind of weak. We ain't going to go there, but hey, we win a division. We go into the divisional series. We take that against the Brewers, and then we take it against the Dodgers to put us now into the World Series. So, Banks, I just wanted to give a little background into what we're talking about tonight, because I didn't get to do it last time. So I'm gonna kick it over to you, man. How special is this and what's going on and what we're witnessing right now? I know you had to take a breath, because this is something very, very special. We've been watching the Atlanta Braves for a long time, but this is something very, very special. So let us know, what's going on.
Well, for one thing, Leo, you forgot to mention that we lost Soroka, one of our best pitchers. Our catcher Darno, he was gone for a couple of months. We lost a lot of players that was off the roster. I can't even think of them all. It was so many players in and out. So much adversity in this team this year. They could have easily just said, you know what? Let's just pack it up. Let's just get healthy for next year. It just wasn't our year this year. No, but Double-A decided that he wanted to go and trade deadline and go ahead and get Joctober. He wanted to go and get Adam Duvall. He wanted to go ahead and get Jorge Soler. He wanted to get Eddie Rosario, who came off an injury, by the way. He looks, like you said, a complete genius. Every single player that he acquired has contributed in this playoffs. Every last one of them. So it's a testament of something that is special. Could be, but it's a thing where Braves team is a well organized, establishment. I feel like, I'm not saying it to toot my own horn, but I feel like the Braves are leaps and bounds. You're not your Yankees with your huge giant payroll, and they're not your Dodgers with the Hollywood feel out there. No, we're just an old Southern town organization that just circle the wagons, and it's done well.
Shout out Liberty Media. I say that tongue in cheek, because there has been a lot of back and forth with a lot of the fans here in the city. If you didn't know, the Atlanta Braves are owned by Liberty Media. The Braves that we know and love back in the day, fellas, were owned by one owner, Ted Turner. You know what I'm saying? The first championship that was brought to the city was brought in by Ted Turner, as he was the owner of the team. He was also the owner, I think, of the Atlanta Hawks as well. But now the Braves are owned by Liberty Media, and we thought that hey, we weren't gonna be able to compete, like you said, Banks, with some of those teams that have big pockets. The Steinbrenner family of the worlds, and like you said, the Yankees. We talk about the Dodgers and the Red Sox, some of those other teams, man, that got deep pockets. It's like, man, Liberty Media is gonna be stingy with their money, but man, once again, shout out to Alex Anthopoulos for doing what he was able to do after the All-Star break and going into the trade deadline, man, bringing guys back, like you said, Duvall, Rosario, Solar. I mean, he really, really hit a home run. I think this dude need to help some of the other teams here in the city. Derrico, as I pass it over to you, man, this is very, very special, man, as we just win game one of the World Series, man. Like, just tell me how you feel, man, and tell me how this all just you feel about everything that's transpiring right now, man.
I mean, sometimes when you see something happening and unfolding that, like Banks was saying, all the injuries, all the adversity. I mean, when you got the GM go out and pick up four crucial people at the trade deadline, and it costs you maybe $10 million for four players, you doing something right. You know what I'm saying? So I give Double a heads up, thumbs up, fist up, all that good stuff for bringing in and pushing the right moves. And then as soon as we get our chest pumped up, then we lose one of our starting pitchers tonight on a ground ball out, broken fibula. So he pitched on a broken fibula for at least five batters tonight. You know what I'm saying? Six batters. I mean, I don't know what more you can say about what I feel like. I hate to say this, but when you know you destined to do something, you know what I'm saying? And I just feel like us going up 1-0, us beating the Dodgers, we said this the last time, you got to knock off the dog in order to stand up there and be the big dog on the porch. We did that against the Dodgers, so I just think right now Houston is in our way.
Hey, man, absolutely. I totally agree with that, man. And Banks, I'm gonna get back to you in just a moment, man. This team, man, is a gritty team. Like, this is, we always use the term playing with house money, right? Nobody expected us to be here. We are playing with house money right now, gentlemen. I mean, and the drive and the will to want it, you see it. Like in this Dodger series, man, they were like, you know what, we understood and learned from last year, man. We're gonna put our foot on their neck, man, and we're gonna stop. Banks, you are. So I'm gonna bring it to you, Banks, but you are the person that likes to see dominance in sports. You don't like to see a lot of the parity. You want to see dominance, and the Braves weren't a very dominant team through the regular season, but once they got into the playoffs, they got a mentality of, hey, we're gonna finish people off. And let me tell you something that's very, very crazy. We were in a lot of positions in the Dodgers series where we could have opened the door back up, but other players stepped up, man. Eddie Rosario stepped up, man. Mazick out of the bullpen stepped up when we had, a couple of flukes with some of the pitching that was going on, man. And another thing too, I must say, the coaching stepped up. Real talk, Derrico. I'm kicking it over to you because wait. I'm gonna kick it over to you first. I'm gonna kick it back over to you in just a minute. But we know how you've been critical of Snedeker. But look, I'm gonna tell you something, man. Real talk before I give it to you, Banks here, man. It's been one guy on this Braves team, one coach that has put it all on the line, and that's Ron Washington. Shout out to the third base coach, Ron Washington, man. Dude, if it wouldn't have been for him in that Dodger series, dude, and just really just putting them kahunas on the table and saying, you know what, hey man, I'm gonna wave these folk around and we're gonna get these runs in and we're gonna make we're gonna put the pressure on these man, listen. Shout out to Ron Washington, man. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna give a shout out to Snedeker, man, for being, damn near half a century with this organization and to do what he's doing, and you gotta give him a little credit, man, because he's pushed it and he's been able to get this team and motivated in the right direction. So as we move forward, I'm gonna give it over to you, Banks, here to just talk about it a little bit, man, and how you've seen how the coaching has been a big factor and what we're seeing and transpiring right now in the field.
Ron Washington is the biggest reason why we won game one. Okay. Those runs was very critical. He, like you said, he put his kahunas on the table and he rolled the dice. And for once, he didn't strike snake eyes. We actually was on the good side of that luck. Back to Snit. Well, since you're not going to say it, I'm going to say it. For him to pull in Anderson back in game 6 for a pitch runner, okay, to get on base for Eddie Rosario to pop that 3-run homer, it was a gutsy call. And Anderson was dealing. I didn't agree with it. I was wondering what he was doing. But in the grand scheme of things, when you're in a position to put somebody away, you need to put them away. Especially someone like the Dodgers, because they will make you pay. They will feel like, you know what, you're going to leave this door just a slightly cracked. We're going to bust it in. Just like last year. We couldn't put them away, and they made us pay. So I commend Snitker for that move alone of putting in a pinch hitter for Ian Anderson way early when we had people on base. You know, I want to get into Matzik, what he did. Now, he's got the biggest kahunas on the team. They gave him a name. They gave him a name. They gave him Nutsack. So, okay. That's the name they gave him. So,
and let's be real, man. Matzik came in, we've been very, very critical of number 77 here. I have been, you know what I'm saying? Luke Jackson out of the bullpen has, he was solid, in spurts, throughout the year. But, man, he's always been shaky. And going into, I want to say it was game 6, if I'm not mistaken, Banks, you could correct me if I'm wrong. We put Luke Jackson in, and, he gives up the ghost. We almost, had an epic collapse. And it was like, oh my God, man, is this really gonna happen? And Matzik comes in and says, you know what, man, I'm gonna retire this damn side. Matter of fact, he struck out the side. You know what I'm saying? He struck out the side and got us to, basically through that inning, and ultimately pushed us into the World Series, man. So I'm glad you touched on that. Derek O, man, as we move on in the show, kick it over to you. You've been very, very critical of Snitker in the past on our podcast. And for good reason, because, there have been some touchy moments with him and players and how you felt like he's handled situations with certain players, right? But now we're here to this point. We're in the World Series. We're up 1 game right now. How do you feel now about Snit? How do you feel about this coaching staff, man, and what they've done and been able to accomplish to get us to where we are now? Are you still very, very critical of Snit, man, or are you willing to, give him a little bit of slack?
Oh, I'm gonna give him some props. I'm always gonna be that dude that can be critical and also give praise. You know what I'm saying? Because, like Banks was saying, for him to make that decision to pull Ian Anderson out and then Rosario go in there and just cash the money in. I mean, I'm just saying, even starting off on this series, I saw some aggressiveness from this team that I hadn't seen, like the stolen base by Albies in the first inning after Solar went deep on the first at bat. So I'm like, okay, I see some. Okay, we got to do this. You know what I'm saying? And then for him to leave Mentor in there for almost 3 innings a night was huge. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that was huge. And that gave us time to get our other relievers in. And I'm gonna give your boy Luke some props too, because like you said, we've been giving him some stuff, but he came in and did what he had to do. 3 up, 3 down. He was up out of there when he came in to pitch.
Man, everybody, Banks, I'm gonna kick it over to you before we move on, man. Look, everybody here has been playing their role, man. everybody on this team has been playing their role and doing what they need to do. Like, and that's what's the exciting part about seeing what we're seeing, fellas. Like, really, man, Freddie Freeman got us out of the NLDS against the Brewers, right? He had a tough time early on in the Dodgers series, but he came around and did what he needed to do to help us win that series, man. Ozzy Albies, man. Darno behind the plate has been cut. Even though Darno's bat has not been as hot as we wanted it to, like you said, Banks, he's come off an injury. But man, he has been calling some excellent games, and he's been right there, with his pitchers, man, blocking some stuff in the dirt, man, and doing what he needs to do to get on. Everybody that's needed to step up has stepped up, man. Rosario, who ended up being the MVP of the NLCS, my God, man. Everybody, man. Dansby Swanson out there, everybody, man. It's been a group effort, man. And I just can't, I'm so proud of what I'm seeing out of this team, man, and how they really, really want Ozzy Albies, man, how they want it. These guys want it. And I think, man, that hunger is just something that I find refreshing in an Atlanta team, because it's been, you know what? We haven't seen a hunger like this in quite some time out of the Atlanta team. And I want to say that it's only 2 teams in the city that you see that hunger out of on a regular basis. Maybe that other team can find a way to channel some of that hunger. Banks, I'm gonna go to you. I know you wanted to speak on something before I move on with the podcast, man. What you got, brother?
Well, I just wanted to piggyback on what Derrico was talking about. AJ Minter. That was the second time he's done that. He's pitched 3 innings to bridge the gap from the starter to the beginning of our bullpen, and he's been phenomenal. AJ Minter has been shaky in the regular season, if you remember. He gets in the playoffs, and it's a switch. Tyler Masick, who? I mean, we know he's been shaky, and all of a sudden he's a shutdown. All of a sudden, when? Oh, okay. The piggyback also with Luke Jackson. Yes, he's been the scapegoat of the bullpen, if you will. Actually, today in this game here, he actually redeemed himself with a couple of strikeouts, and he went actually for let me see, an inning and a half, I want to say, and then they put in Masick. Quick little nugget for you, Leo. That was our first win in the World Series since Game 2 of 1996 World Series.
Absolutely.
1996.
1996, game 1 win since 1996 as well. And early today, fellas, man, we have the group chat going on, man. Just to give a little tidbit of what happened the last time the Braves were in the World Series, man. Guys, we were there for it. Banks, Derrico, we lived in 95 when we actually won the World Series against the Indians. What a time to be alive, man. It's burnt into my brain watching Marquise Grissom catch that third out, man, to win that World Series for us, man. I'll never forget, man. As long as I'm alive, I always have that ingrained in my brain, man. One of the most special moments I remember in Atlanta sports. But just to give you a little bit of a timeline, and for those of us that live in Atlanta that actually can understand these references that I'm about to drop before we move on, man. So the last time the Braves were in the World Series, now this is going to be the kicker right here. This is the funny part, man. So the last time, I'm going to go to you, Derrico. The last time the Braves in the World Series, man, can you tell me who was the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons?
Crystal Chandelier. That's Chris Chandler for the folks that don't know. Crystal Chandelier.
Chris Chandler was the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons, fresh off the Super Bowl run in 1998, going into the 1999 season with the Braves, and they moved into the World Series, man. Chris Chandler was the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons. Wow. I feel very, 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 very dated. I'm not going to say old. I'm going to just say dated. Banks, I'm going to give it over to you really, really quickly, man. The last time the Braves in the World Series, can you tell me what the number 1 song was on the radio at that time?
The number 1 song on the radio. I probably can't tell you that, but I might probably gonna do a little mess up your little segment here. But I can tell you who was alive back then.
Who was alive back then?
It was Willie B.
Willie B. Atlanta Zoo's own Willie B. was alive back then in 1999, the last time the Braves made it to the World Series. And just to let you know, the number one song on the radio at that time was TLC's No Scrubs. Wow. TLC's No Scrubs was the number one song on the radio at that time. And another tidbit of information before we move on to the next segment, man. Guys, we had a professional hockey team here in this city. The last time the Braves won the World Series, we had a professional hockey team in the city, the Atlanta Thrashers, man, who I was very, very fond of. Banks, we've talked about this. You've had your gear. Derrico, we talked. I don't know if we'll live to see this city get another hockey franchise. We've lost two, but man, I would love to see it. But yeah, Atlanta Thrashers were here in 1999, last time we went to the World Series. Also, a fun fact for you here, man. Freddie Freeman was like damn near 7 years old last time the Braves went to the World Series, man. So that just puts some stuff into perspective for you guys, man. So, oh man, it's just really, I'm really, really excited. Banks, what you got?
And just a little afterthought, little tidbit with that same thing. I was a freshman in college, so yeah, I'm dated too.
Man, yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, man. It feels good to get back, man. And for those of us, that remember, and then for the younger generation, for them to finally kind of taste some of this, man. Because like I said, right now we're playing with house money. And getting that game in Houston was very, very big. So, like I said, as we record this podcast, moving into this week of just Atlanta sports and Georgia sports, man, it feels good. I'm excited, fellas. I'm excited tonight. I know this is a late podcast that we're doing, but this is very, very exciting. It is, man, and I'm kind of giddy, man. Y'all can tell. We got a lot going on, man.
Yeah, you ate your Wheaties after work today.
I damn sure did. Banks, man. Like I said, man. I mean, I'm sorry, Derek. We had, everybody at work. You wear your Braves gear. Like I said, I went in rocking Braves gear down to the socks, representing the ATL as only I know how I can, man. I do this for the city, man. I do this for the city. So look, guys, we're gonna move in with the podcast, man. Braves made us feel really, really good and really, really special. But next topic of conversation is we're gonna talk about the team down there, one of the teams that occupies Mercedes-Benz. Talk about the Atlanta Falcons, man. So look, before we get into it, man, I want to shout out to everybody that went down to South Florida, man. Our very own Derrico went down to South Florida to represent for them boys down there. Shout out to another fan of the show, our girl A-Ro. A-Ro was down in the city. A-Ro went down to South Florida. We had, man, a lot of people from the A went down to South Florida, man, to check out the Atlanta Falcons take on the Miami Dolphins, man, down there. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it. Banks wasn't able to make it as well. If my schedule would have been clear, I definitely would have been down there, man. So before we actually talk about the game, Derrico, man, tell us how the experience and the atmosphere was going down there representing the Falcons faithful down there in South Florida.
First of all, it was hot as AF. That's number one. We're gonna start there. And, we're not used to being outside, so that's number one. But as far as the atmosphere, the stadium was like probably 80% full, and we probably had at least 20% of that. So that's 20% is good on the road. So the atmosphere was good. They actually, I was surprised that the Dolphins fans made a lot of noise. They actually was making a lot of noise. It was some good banter back and forth from the Falcon fans and the Dolphins fans. We went through their little tailgates setups. They got back of the trunks tailgate setups because not too many people want to like do it like we do it in the A. So we kind of walked through those and kind of looked at them like, is this the Miami Dolphins or the Miami Hurricanes out here tailgate? But otherwise, as far as atmosphere, it was good as Miami.
Hey man, it is what it is, man. Miami is always a good time, man. Shout out to Miami, man. All my peeps down in Miami, man. Shout out to my man Alex, man, who's been on the podcast on several occasions. Is down there in South Florida, Miami, man. Yeah, that's my home away from home, man. I tell everybody, man, I love Miami, man. I really do, and I wish I could have made it down. You know, Miami Gardens is closer to Fort Lauderdale up there where Hard Rock is, but you know, it is what it is. It's South Florida, man. What is there not to like about that, man? South Beach, man, and just the atmosphere, man. Good food, good times. You know, it is what it is. Banks, man. I know you weren't able to get down there, man, but you know, before we get into the meat of the game, man, like I know you've been to Miami, man. Just you know, how do you feel about that city, man? And how do you feel about us playing down there when we get a chance to go down there?
Well, I would have been down there had this game been this week because I'm having a vacation right now that I'm enjoying. But the city of Miami, I love the city. Beautiful women, beautiful women. There's just a good time down there in South Beach. I mean, I love Miami. Um, the football team, basketball team, baseball team, whatever. But I look at the city as itself as a
They
nice
got a
getaway.
they got an MLS team now too. They got an MLS team now.
Oh yeah, that team. Yeah, okay. And yeah, that hockey team too. Sure, why not?
They do. They got a hockey team too. They got all the major sports down there popping in Miami, man. So shout out to everybody down there in South Florida. So look, as we move into the second portion of the podcast, man, we're gonna talk about it, man. Atlanta Falcons, man, 30-28 over the Miami Dolphins down there at Hard Rock, man. Like we just said, Derek was down there for it, man. So look here, fellas, I'm gonna give it to you over here first, Banks, man. Um, I don't know how I feel. So before I give it to you, Banks, man, I don't know. At this point, man, you know, we talked about this on several podcasts about what it is with these Falcons, man. Like, you're supposed to do what you need to do against bad teams. We've talked about this in previous podcasts. You know, the Giants were a bad team. You beat the Giants. The Jets were a horrible team. You beat the Jets. The Dolphins are a bad team. You beat the Dolphins. But you didn't beat them like you were supposed to beat them. I think there is a sense of what we were sold and what we see. We were sold that this team was going to be very, very competitive and can win now with what we have with with Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith. But you know, playing the Dolphins, we were supposed, you know, this is a team that's bad. We are more, you know, even in the transition year, even in the rebuild that what we have, we're supposed to be a better team. Banks, you know, I'm giving this to you first. And I'm gonna give a little personal insight as to why I'm giving this to you first. And Derrico, you're gonna get a real kick out of this. So Sunday, man, we're watching the game as we do. I'm at work. I'm at my 9 to 5 on Sunday, and we got the group text going on like as we always do. Game starts out very, very shaky. I think Miami goes up 7-0 in the first quarter. I get a text in the group chat, and I'm not gonna read it verbatim. I'm not gonna do that. But Banks, along the lines of, I'm not gonna do this today. They're not gonna ruin it. Because at the time, the night before, the Braves had just clinched and were on their way to the World Series. But we get the group, we get the we get the text, and Banks says, "You know what, man? I'm not doing this with these guys today." You know, Banks, you turned the TV off. You said you weren't doing it. Okay, so I'm gonna kick it over to you. We end up winning 30-28, man. What just made you turn the TV off and say you couldn't deal with them this past Sunday, man? What's up? You gotta tell
Well,
us.
let's keep it a buck. I turned the TV off and I turned it right back on. Okay, I can't look away. You know, I say stuff out of anger, and next thing you know, I'm back looking at it again. But I said what I said because I was on a high. I woke up happy. I woke up knowing that my team is going to the World Series. You know, I felt like a happy Atlanta fan for once. For once. And then I look and I watch this Falcons game, and it starts off like the Falcons. Like, I'm like, no, we're not doing this today. We're not going to start off where I need a drink in the first quarter. I'm just not doing it. So when I realized what this team is, Leo, I realized that they are who they are. Then I said, you know what? Okay, all right. I watch, and I watched, and I watched, and I watched, and I noticed that they were doing stuff that they were improving in certain areas. In some places, it was like I'm about to throw up. So I took it with a grain of salt, and you know what? I watched the ending. They won the game. Kudos to the Falcons.
Man, this is a tooth and nail team. Make no mistake about it, man. We've talked about this in the past, and Banks, all of us have talked. This is a tooth and nail team. This is not a world beater team. You know, excuse me. As fans, we talked about being in our feelings about what we've been pitched. What we've been told. I think it's been convoluted with what we heard from Arthur Smith as he took the head coaching position, and also what we were told by Terry Fontenot when he took the GM position. They felt poised that we were able to win right now. And hey, for what it's worth, it is what it is. These two guys that are, just got new jobs, man. What are they supposed to say? You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're two new guys in the league, a green GM and a green head coach. So I think, they, are trying to make a name, and they wanted to make sure they put out what they were about. And I feel like, at the time that they got this job, they looked at the roster, they was like, hey, you know what? We're not going to be bad. We might be mediocre, but we're not going to be bad. We can win. We can have some marginal success. They didn't use the word marginal. That's a word that I'm using, marginal success, because I feel like that's what they felt when they took over the positions. Derek, I'm going to give it over to you, man. You were down there in Florida, and like you said, man, you had a good time down there. We got to win 30-28. How do you feel about what you saw and where we are right now at 500?
It almost turned into here go the Falcons again. I mean, it almost turned into that. When you have turnovers and you like, here we go again. That's when I started getting in my feelings, Banks. Start using some choice words that I don't normally use, especially in the public, because we had a football game. So I'm like, no, we're not about to do this either. You know what I'm saying? So watching the game, so this is what I saw. I saw improvement in a couple of areas, because I'm going to get with the good first. I'm not going to steal your thunder, Bank, so I'm going to just say tight end play was good. Quarterback play was good. Offensive line play was good. Running back play was good. We just want to go buy some pass rush for somebody. I don't care. We put it on layaway for Christmas. We just got to find somebody that wants to get to the passer. Period. Can't find it. Can't get it. Sorry. Linebacker play. Suck.
Well, I will. I will say. I will. Okay, so I will say this much, man. Foye Oluokun has been the guy who has now asserted himself as being the guy who is our best linebacker, man. No disrespect to Deion Jones, man. No disrespect to Debo, but Foye Oluokun has now asserted himself as being the guy. And I'm not for sure. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think he is Foye Oluokun the green dot now. Is Foye Oluokun the green dot, or is it still Debo?
No, it's still
I'm not for
Debo.
certain.
I don't
Okay,
think.
so
He needs to pass the sticks.
Yeah, but based on some of the comments I don't seen, I must have missed it. Like, Oluokun had a bad game. So I'm gonna have to go back and watch that game, because I'm like, well, dang, what happened? Because I know, if I'm not mistaken, his jersey number is 54, right?
yeah, man.
He
Oluokun.
caught a pass from the opposing team that almost ran into the end zone right in front of us. So I'm trying to figure out what happened. Now that Debo, nah,
Yeah, man. So, like real talk, man. We've talked about this before, man. We said this in the past, man. We love Debo. We love number 45, man. We really do, man. But he has, he is not the prototypical linebacker that we used to seeing. Like, I mean, he is a very, very athletic guy, but asking him to do some of the things that he, like tackling, 220, 230-pound running backs, man, it's kind of hard for him. But, I love Debo, man. In this new role, in this new defense, man, he's faced some challenges, man. He did get a sack against Tua. He did do that. But like I said, Foye Aluakon did get a pick, almost a pick six, man. The big guy kind of got ran down, man. But the defense is the defense. And I know Banks, you and I talked about this, man. There's not a lot of talent on this defense, man. It's all scheme. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna really say this. This is all Dean Pease. I mean, we can kind of get upset with what we're seeing in some of the, because I know, Banks, you get a little upset about some of the things that just have not changed or are not appealing to you. But to be honest, I think with the talent that we have and the way we've been able to win these last 3 games against garbage teams, it's been Dean Pease, man. Like, really just knowing, like, hey, I don't have a lot. Let me scheme this up to be able to do what we need to do and get away with what we can get away with. Seriously, that's just the bottom line. Like, we don't have a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball, man. Offensively, like you guys just said, we've improved offensively with what we have talent wise, but defense, man, like you said, we need to go find the pass rush from somewhere. That has been something that the Falcons have not had in a long time, is a pass rush. So, Banks, I'm gonna pass it over to you really, really quickly. I want to talk about a couple of key points, man. Talking about this defense, because I know you and I had a conversation about this defense, man. What is it with this defense, man? I mean, we knew we were going to be middle of the road at best or bottom tier, but shout out to Dean Pease for just continuing to piecemeal and push us through week after week, man. What's up? How do you feel about it?
This is what you get when you have retreads. You go out there now. Granted, we don't have money. We can't even afford a non-later rapper. You know what I'm saying? We just going out there with some guys that we could have just picked out of Home Depot parking lot and got someone and play linebacker. So, I mean, at this point, I mean, the defense is just what it is. You got guys out there that has no business starting on anybody's team in this league. Not one player besides Grady has to be a starter on this team. Now AJ Terrell, he's back in that.
I was about to say, Banks. I was going to cut you off.
Yeah, no. I'm going to give him his due, and he's missed. Because he's on that concussion protocol yet again. It's everybody else that I look on that defense, man. I'm like, okay, just don't disappoint me. It's just like, do what you do. It's and then you can't fault Dan Pease for this because he has to coach what he can coach.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, we just gotta hope and pray that we can get anything out of them. I mean, anything at this point.
Hey, man, like I said, I got to give props to Dean Pease, man, doing what he's able to do. Derek, I got to kind of piggyback on you, man. Made a lot of progress offensively with Arthur Smith and what he wants to do with the offense and the talent that we have, man. Are we where we want to be? From a fan's perspective, absolutely not. But you score 30 points on a bottom tier NFL team. I think you do what you need to do, even though it was shaky with the turnovers at best. But you had a bad Miami Dolphins team that you needed to beat, and we beat them. I mean, no, do we beat them by 30 points? No. Did we beat them by 17 points? No, we beat them by 2 points. But you get the win, you're back at 500, something we haven't seen in quite some time. So I think we take what we can take, man. Matt Ryan, 25 of 40 for 336 yards with 2 TDs. So now, here we go over to my man Banks. I want to talk about this a little bit, and Derek, we're gonna get you back into the conversation in just a minute. But I want to talk to Banks for just a second. I want to talk to Banks for just a second about something. Kyle Pitts, our number 4 draft pick in this year's draft. This man goes seven catches, 163 yards against the Dolphins, man. It's 2 back-to-back games that he's had over 100 yards. And he's now starting to show us why the Falcons were invested and get him at number 4. You've been very, very critical of Kyle Pitts. But let me tell you something. This man is the reason that we won the last 2 games. We won. It was him all along. He's made big plays in big situations to get us the wins in these last 2 games. But Banks, I don't know. Was the juice worth the squeeze, or is the jury still out about Kyle Pitts?
The reason why we won those last 2 games is because it was the Jets and Dolphins, dude. Let's get that straight. Okay, we're not going to sit here and pretend like this, this is the turning point for him. Yeah, he did some good things. I'm not going to lie to you. Was he worth that 4th pick? He still ain't did it for me. I mean, he's a rookie. He's a rookie. That's all I can say about him. I mean, but like I said, he's got a lot to learn, lot to learn. But now he's not the reason why we won these games. Let's get that straight. Jets and Dolphins. That's all I got to say about that.
Still NFL teams, man. If for what it's worth, you guys could go and you could do the research, man. For what it's worth, people want to make the comparisons, man. We lost Julio Jones, JJ11, and we brought in Kyle Pitts. And people, this is, we're in the age of social media and where you can pull up and I saw something the other day, man, where it's like, dude, like identical stat for stat, wide receiver to tight end. Like right now, Kyle Pitts is rookie year for rookie year. Kyle Pitts is actually projected to produce more than Julio Jones did in his rookie year, man. So that's crazy. As I pass it over to Derrico, man. So Banks still not impressed with the number 4 pick, Kyle Pitts. He still needs to do a little more. Derrico, how do you feel about Kyle Pitts and how he's put us in position to be able to get some wins? Got to take yourself off mute first, brother. Got to take yourself off mute.
My bad. That's the thing. I'm with Banks on a couple of things, and that's the Jets and the Dolphins. Those are the couple of things that I'm with Banks on. That is the Jets and the Dolphins, but that's not going to keep me from saying that Kyle Pitts did his thing. I don't care who you are in the NFL. If you popping off for 100+ yards in 2 games straight, then you're doing something. And the fact that they had confidence to throw the ball to him in crunch situations, that let me know that, hey, this dude is coming around. The first couple of games that he was having, I mean, he was still trying to get a feel for the NFL. But right now, I think at this point, the confidence level of that dude right now is off the charts right now. But we got Carolina coming up that has a stout defense. So that's what we're gonna see what's going on this Sunday for sure. An NFC South opponent. That's where
Amen.
That's where I want to see guys perform.
I agree, man. First division opponent. Well, I'm sorry. Second division opponent, as we fell to Tampa early on in the season. So now we play Carolina, another division rival, this Sunday, man. So we'll see. And Carolina has a lot of struggles. I don't want to go into it too deep, man, because we're getting a little we're getting a little we're getting a little far into the podcast, man. So I can't go too in depth about what Carolina has going on, unfortunately. But yeah, they're reeling. They have a lot of stuff going on. So if you've been following the NFL, you guys understand and know what happened with Carolina on this past week. But yeah, so guys, before we move on really, really quickly, man, we're gonna move into a couple other topics before we wrap this thing up. How do we feel about Falcons victories now? We're at 500. Of course, to the masses, we haven't played anybody. We played the last two teams that we played. You know, we should have won. We should have beat. They're nobodies. You know what I'm saying? Collectively, 4 wins out of everybody between the Giants, the Jets, and the Dolphins. Do we need? Where do we stand? How do we feel? Really, really quickly. Give it to you, Derek Cole, before we move forward.
I mean, y'all know me. I'm like the pessimistic person. Right now, I'm still pessimistic because again, you just laid it out. We beat the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Giants. We couldn't beat a top tier team. We competed a little bit, but and then we lose to a lesser team in the the Washington football team. I mean, those are the type of games that you got to win when you play the Washington football team. So coming up on this Sunday, you playing a divisional rival that is coming up to town. They got questions right now with their quarterback that everybody was on his yin yang the first 3 games, thinking that he was the best thing since sliced bread, and Carolina made the best decision in bringing Sam Darnold down here, like he was going to metamorphosis into this Tom Brady like quarterback when he got to Carolina. But we're seeing the real Sam Darnold. So I want to see the real Sam Darnold on Sunday. If I see the Sam Darnold for the first 3 games, then that's going to tell me everything I need to know about this team. You're a fluke until you can beat a good team.
Absolutely. Banks, really, really quickly as we move forward, we're going to talk about a couple other things before we close this thing out. Where do you see us now moving into this game? Like I said, we talked about beating up on 3 teams collectively with 4 wins after 6 weeks into the season. Where do you see us moving forward into this Carolina game, man?
Well, Carolina's got a rock bottom complex about themselves. They feel like now they have to come out swinging. They benched Sam Darnold, and listen to their head coach in their press conference. He's going to play Sunday. So I'm looking at it like this, like Derek Cole said. I mean, if he comes out like the first 3 weeks, if we make him look like he's the one, and he just had the speed bump and he's on his way, then they are who they are. We kind of know that already. You know, but if we make him look like Sam Darnold of old, that's baby steps. Cool. We'll move on from that. But until then, I'm kind of neutral, you know, because I don't know what Falcons team's going to show up.
Okay. Like I said, I want to see us continue to progress. Hopefully, man, I can see us get a much needed win against a division rival, man, against Carolina coming up this Sunday, man. It's going to be an exciting week, man. Just like I said, going back 1 game into the World Series as we move on to tomorrow, as we record this podcast going into game 2. Hopefully we can pull that out really, really quickly as we close this out. 2 things I want to talk about, fellas. And I'm going to get both of you guys' takes really, really quickly. But damn, Banks, just yawn on the podcast. Goddamn. Okay. So.
I mean, it is like 1:00 in the morning. I mean,
okay, man. Hey, and you the guy that worked on the other side of the clock, but we're not gonna talk about that. Hey, so really, really quickly, college football, UGA, world's biggest cocktail party as we record this podcast is going on this weekend. UGA versus Florida. Really, really quickly, Derrico, take on that game. Who prevails?
Take on this game is Georgia better find a way to continue to be the big dog on defense. They better find a way to run the football on this Saturday. You can't depend on, at this game, Stetson Bennett throwing the football. So you better find a way to run the football, but Georgia going to come out on top.
Okay, Georgia going to come out on top. You heard from Derrico. Give it over to you, Banks. How do you feel about what we're going to see out of Georgia on this Saturday, man, at the cocktail party down in Jacksonville?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say this. Georgia will prevail. The defense will come out this bye week, and they're going to make a statement. Stetson Bennett would not play this game. This will be JT Daniels' game. And we're going to go multiple touchdowns on this team. And I'm confident of saying that.
Okay, that's what's up, man. I feel exactly like you fellas do, man. This Georgia defense is just too tough for this Florida team. And Banks, I kind of agree with you, man. JT Daniels is back into the mix. If we're gonna do anything, and I feel like all the national media people, man, shout out to Stetson Bennett though, man, for getting us this far where we are. I'm sorry. But JT Daniels is the guy that's going to be able to take us over to the promised land, if quote unquote, if all the hype is true with him, doing what he needs to do. So if he starts, man, wonderful. But this Georgia defense, man, I think is going to be the key factor in this, man. So last thing I want to talk about, man, before we close this out. Did get a chance to talk about the Hawks. Maybe we'll get on to the next podcast with that. But Atlanta United, man, going into the last couple of games before we move into the playoffs. Tough game as we speak tonight against Atlanta United, against Inter Miami, and then this weekend, Derrico, I know you and I will be down there against Toronto FC. Much needed 6 points at home. We need this, man. Do you think, Derrico, that this Atlanta United team is going to fight to stay above the playoff line? Gotta take yourself off mute, brother. Gotta take yourself off mute.
I see 6 points coming in the next 2 days, in the next 2 games. 3 points tomorrow, 3 points Saturday. And that'll give us back up in the top 4 if everything else shape up like we need it to. So, yeah, I think we're going to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Banks, do you feel like this Atlanta United team is going to fight for 6 points? Because this is the last, I think, home stretch before. I think we got another away game, and then we move going into the playoffs here. We are above the playoff line as I speak right now. But do you feel like we get 6 points out of these next 2 games at home between Inter Miami and Toronto FC?
Well, they better. I mean, you kind of let one get away from that new NYCFC. You need to make that up. And for the next 2 games after that, you got the Red Bulls and you got Cincinnati. You need 6 points out of them too. And like I said in the last show, no one above you is going to lose. It seems like everyone's handling business above you. You have to take care of business. You cannot afford to lose points in these last 4 matches. This is very critical. You have to. At this point, it's not about getting a home game. Just get in. Just get in. Just win your matches.
Absolutely. Get into the dance. Win these games, Atlanta United, man. A lot of stuff going on in Atlanta sports, man. It's going to be a crazy week. I'm so excited, and I know you guys are excited as well. I can't wait to get back to do the podcast, man, and talk about how everything materialized. I know all of us in some capacity are going to be participating in at least one or multiple games that are going on this week with the Braves in the World Series game as they bring this back home on Friday. And then we got Atlanta United on Saturday. And also the Braves will be playing on Saturday. We got Atlanta Falcons on Sunday. And also, if needed, the Braves will be playing on Sunday, man. So it is going to be an exciting week. Also, Georgia, like I said, world's biggest cocktail party on Saturday down in Jacksonville, man. This is as hype as it gets right now, fellas. We're talking about Atlanta sports, man. For real. This is really exciting, man, for all of us, man, and we'll be able to kick it, man. So as we close this out, man, I'm gonna give it to you, Banks, first. Let everybody know what, man, they can get at you, man, and how you can be contacted.
You can contact me on Antoine Jarrell Banks on Facebook or maybe Banks80 on the Twitter and the Gram. Hit me up.
That's what's up, man. Derek Cole, let everybody know where they can holler at you.
Oh, I just want to put in that the Hawks play on Saturday too.
I know, man. We did not get a chance to get into the Hawks. The Hawks.
I just got to put that out there. You can
absolutely. Yeah. The Hawks are playing. No, actually, really quick, the Hawks are playing them tonight. Tonight.
Yeah, tonight.
They're playing the Pelicans tonight, and they also playing Saturday against the 76ers. But go ahead.
You can catch me on Facebook at Stacy D. Derrico. You can catch me on the Twitter at VSU96SDD. And on IG, you can catch me at Derrico_Virgo.
All right, man. So you can catch the Leo G Show on Twitter at the Leo G Show, the number one. That's at the Leo G Show, the number one. You can also catch us on Facebook, man. You can also catch us on Banks' newly acquired TikTok page. Link in bio to come here. Banks, what you Banks, what you got, man?
Just to piggyback on y'all, we didn't talk about the Hawks. Shout out John Collins with your another T-shirt poster that you just hit on.
Stop trying that, man. Stop trying that, man.
Hopefully our next show we go Hawks heavy. I got lots to say, and we'll be there.
Stop. He baptizing people, man. John Collins out here just giving people what they just posterizing everybody, man. But yeah, like I said, man, hit us up. The Leo G Show, the number one on Twitter. Also, you can hit me up, Southern Set with 2 T's on Twitter. Been having fun with everybody that's been interacting with the show. Shout out to my man Kevin Knight over in England. Big Falcons fan to be here in a couple of weeks for the Patriots game. So, man, like we interacting with worldwide, fellas. We interacting worldwide with people, man. Kevin Knight, man, big fan of the Atlanta Falcons over in England. We'll be here in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, we'll be able to get up with him, man. And just shout out to all the people that's been supporting us, man, and subscribing, man. You know, it's a movement. We're doing what we do, man, but we're getting a lot of positive feedback, guys, and we appreciate it, man. Shout out to my man, Reggie McKee. Shout out to A-Ro. Shout out to my man, Rob Bridges. Man, anybody, you guys want to give some shout outs to anybody, man, before we cut this off, man? Banks, I'm gonna go to you first.
My boy Opie, my Maze High homeroom guy. He's been watching our show. Giving you a shout out, brother. Yes, I do want to intertwine with you with your podcast as well. If you get me back, just DM me and we can set something up. I appreciate your patronage and spread the word, brother.
Derrico, what's up with you, man? You want to give a shout out to anybody in particular?
I want to give up a shout out to my classmate G down there in South Georgia. I want to give a shout out to my man Jamid. What's up, Billings? That's it. And of course, my family that be sharing and watching. My wife, my daughters. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Got to give a shout out to the family, man. Shout out to my beautiful wife as well for supporting, man, and doing. Shout out to Mama Banks and Granddad Banks is gonna be there at the World Series, man. For real, Banks. Damn it, man. I forgot to say that, man. But he'll definitely be in the building. That's what's up, right?
Yes, he was. He was at the last closeout game at the stadium. He will be at all home games at the World Series.
Man, if I'm there Friday night, man, I'm looking forward to trying to get up with him and seeing him, man. If I can get up there, man, I might be having to take some Cash App donations, man, to get this ticket in order for Friday night, man. But it is what it is, man. This has been another edition of the Leo G Show, man. Guys, we definitely had fun, man. I'm looking forward to doing the next one, man. It's been real. We out.